I wanted to ask, as you go through all of this adversity, by God, finally, When Life Gives You Mangoes is coming out. It's about to be named Oprah Magazine's Best Caribbean Books for your 2021 reading list. And there you are, October in 2020, and the world shuts down. A whole pandemic. Like if there was no other adversity, if it hadn't been enough already, your big moment and the whole world shuts down. What's that like coming out in the middle of that?
Oh my goodness. You know what, when the world shut down, I thought, of course it does. Of course it does. My book's about to come out. I've been waiting for this my entire life, and the world said, no, not today. I just remember thinking, you know, how is this going to work? How are we going to get these people to hear about this book? Because a lot of things we had planned was to do events and go to bookshops and schools, and now we can't do any of that. And I know a lot of pandemic authors had the same problem where they struggled. We had to change the way we promoted things. Everything had to be online. And I just remember having to learn very quickly how Zoom works, to do Zoom, and to be pretty decent at social media, because that's where I would get the word out about my book. And I think, like, coming out on the other side, I almost became quite comfortable with that. It was very scary at the time, and I thought, this is not going to work. But then I got used to just doing everything by Zoom, and then the world opened up and my publisher's like, yeah, we can go out now and see people. And I was like, what? People in real life? No, thank you. This is great in my room. We'll stick to that. So yeah, we had to start, you know, going out and to bookshops and actually talking to people and doing it the way that we wanted to do. But yeah, it was a difficult year for us. And I don't think I got how bad it was. I think the publishers did, because they had experience of it. I didn't have experience. You know, this was my first time. I didn't know what we were really going into. I knew that we wouldn't be able to do face-to-face events, but I didn't know how bad it was. And I think, especially when the shops closed and bookstores closed, and so people couldn't buy books, we found that especially challenging. But it's done really well. I think it was just slower. You know, it took a longer time to get to people than it would have normally if the world was open.
I've done a few in-person events again now, and I'm warming back up to it. So, okay, I remember people. This isn't
yes.
don't get too close. Don't cough near me. But it is nice to see everyone again. And yet, anytime I do an event, a tremendous event, maybe 100 people, 200 people show up. Usually it's closer to about 30, 40, but still a nice event like that. And then I'll look at it like an episode of this show, and I'll see how many more people listened all over the world. And I think, well, what am I doing in person? That time maybe would have been better spent, make it available to everyone.
Yeah, because you can, I think that was the great thing about doing it online, is that we had much more access. We had access to a lot more people than we probably would have done if we were doing it in person. And because we were working with the US as well, we could sort of coordinate a lot of things that we were doing because it was all online. And I mean, apart from like being face-to-face with people and doing in-person events, I think it went fine for my introvert self. It worked totally perfect, and I was happy being in my room on a computer talking to people.
It's one of those great ironies of becoming an author is, hey, introvert person who likes to sit quietly and write things, come out here and talk to the world. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't you like to be up in front of people and speak?
I know. I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. I signed up for being in my room with the door closed and just writing by myself. This going out into the world and talking to people is, you know, like my biggest fear, and has always been my fear. And when I worked for like charities, I used to avoid things like that, and now I can't. I have to I have to do it because it's my book and that's how I'm going to promote it. So you have to get over it very quickly.
somewhere out there is the Emily Bronte, the modern Emily Bronte, who's just writing everything and putting it in the trunk. And then the year after that person dies, all of their stuff's going to be widely available. And maybe we'll have good thoughts about it. Maybe we'll criticize it. And she won't know. She'll be
You will
perfect.
never know. That's perfect.